Welcome back to Flywheel Films. Jordan here, Austin here. About 2 years ago, we had our cars behind us in a video discussing the best affordable, reliable, cheap sports cars. And we talked about why we chose these and just what the market looked like.
Yeah, market conditions have changed a whole lot, and so have our cars. We want to talk today about whether or not you should be considering these two cars if you're looking for a fun, affordable sports car, and maybe stay tuned to see if we've been looking at some other options.
So we wanted to talk about the 5 things we visited in the first video. Are they modifiable? Are they reliable? Are they affordable? Are they whippable? Are they practical? Not necessarily in that order, but we wanted to look at those same adjectives again to see if that still rings true. So I will start right off the bat with affordable. Is it still affordable? Because I have an NC Miata, which has just skyrocketed in price. Granted, this is May 2022 when everything has skyrocketed in price, especially used cars. But people are still selling these, taking advantage of that high price. And sure, it sucks to be a buyer in a seller's market, but I still think this is a really good deal. I mean, even back when it was new, when these were about $30,000, that's still a bargain. New Miatas are still a bargain. It is a front engine, rear wheel drive, classic representation of a true performance vehicle. Granted, they're not that fast, but when I do mountain cruises with Caymans and GTRs and all sorts of things, I'm having just as much fun as them, or at least 95% as much fun, while they're spending 4 or 5 times of what I spent on my car. I lucked out, I got in just before the market skyrocketed, but I would still recommend them, and if I had to buy a car now, this would still be my choice. Fiesta ST, also still affordable. Ford has discontinued them. And just like the NC, it's no longer being made, although there's an ND Miata now. There is no new Fiesta ST, not here in the States anyways, RIP. Anyways, that's still a great car. Still not hard to find because they made a lot of them. Of course, if you want really special ones like this Kona Blue with the orange Recaro interior, or this 2012 Special Edition, those will be a bit harder to find, but they are still out there.
Reliability. This is a fun topic, one that I get a lot of questions about because I drive a Ford. The Fiesta ST has been extremely reliable for me. I'm just over 100,000 miles and I have had 0 big issues, knock on wood. Both of these cars behind me, fun fact, actually have Ford motors. And we both had really good luck with our drivetrains, and they're pretty bulletproof. A lot of people will heavily modify these cars and still see some pretty strong reliability, at least from the motor. My Fiesta is only lightly modified. I think that's why I've had so few issues with it. Jordan has done very few drivetrain mods as well, but that motor has a reputation of being extremely reliable even when you add forced induction. We have had great luck with these cars with reliability and would strongly recommend them to anybody who's looking for a fun car that they do need to rely on.
Practicality. That's one I get a question about a lot because I drive a Miata, a small, lightweight convertible, which I think is super cool. And people are like, wait, how do you daily drive this thing? Well, it is still practical if you're creative. Now, my roof, I have the power retractable hardtop. This can actually go up, obviously, and then that becomes a second trunk. That's one of the reasons I wanted this car over like a Z4, for example, where the roof folds into the trunk. I still have my full trunk when the roof is down. And it's a decent sized trunk. I think just over 10 cubic feet. I don't remember the exact number. Plenty of space for me. I've done huge road trips. In fact, I am on a road trip right now. I've been gone for about 4 weeks. So this thing is just fine. And I don't know, that's something that's never been a concern of mine because it is fairly practical. Practicality also constitutes fuel economy, which I average 30 miles to the gallon on the highway, which is really solid. Granted, it takes premium. This also takes premium. You can squeeze out a bit more MPG even though it's turbocharged. And this one objectively is a bit more practical than the Miata. You do have a full trunk, equal or probably bigger than mine, plus the rear seats can fold down and take people in them. Of course, it is more practical. But then there are sacrifices like it is front wheel drive, which still is a fun drivetrain. It's still a objectively good car. It has a turbo. These are both 2 very different cars, and me and Austin keep talking about how we'd love to maybe have each other's car, and it's like, this is honestly a good 2-car solution if you want the dynamic uses for each of these. So, yes, they are practical.
Whippable. That is something that a lot of people don't argue with us when we say we drive some really fun cars. Whippable is best described as driving fast and with spirit, but not dangerously. These cars can be driven at their limit without hitting a crowd. So that's really cool. We definitely take advantage of that with back road driving. A lot of people autocross these cars. We haven't yet. We'd like to, and that will probably change soon. But whippable describes these cars to a T. Mine is front wheel drive, Jordan's is rear wheel drive. They both have their perks and their driving characteristic benefits. That's nuts. They both have their perks for being front and rear wheel drive. We both agree that not being all wheel drive is actually a little bit of a perk because all wheel drive is so good that it almost takes some of the fun out of it. And we love driving these cars on their edge. Jordan will get the tail out of that car very controllably quite often because you can. And my car, I can't do that as safely, but it's different in its own way.
Modifiable. These are both really fun cars to modify, and they have a huge aftermarket support. The NC may be slightly more, and I get really unique things like I can throw RX-8 parts on this thing because it is the same platform as the Mazda RX-8. It would be funny to throw a rotary in this because that was the one really rough part of the RX-8. Cool, but rough and not reliable, unlike my Ford engine, because this was developed kind of with Ford. Yeah, there's a whole story on that. I'll do a video on the NC Miata at some point. The Fiesta. What was I saying? Yeah, the Fiesta aftermarket community is really good, and there's community in general. I mean, forums, Facebook groups, there's so many resources you have, and other owners love bonding together. Same with the Miata. It's just a huge cult following on both these cars, which is partially why we own them. We've done a couple mods to them over the years, and there's a lot more we have in store. Definitely check out other videos we have coming on what we've done and what we want to do in the future. But the question is, would these still be the cars we would buy today, or are we looking at anything else?
So, are we looking at getting different cars?
No, not really.
Not really.
These are still great options. And I do want to mention, if you want a fun, lightweight sports car, rear-wheel drive, front engine, that kind of layout, convertibles, I mean, you have the Z3, Z4, maybe Toyota MR2. Of course, there's the coupes like a GT86, GR86, FRS, Subaru BRZ, that weird conglomerate of a car. Really good car, honestly.
Yeah.
Of course, Subaru engines versus my Ford engine. What about the hot hatches?
Yeah, I mean, in the hot hatch segment, you can get Fiesta ST, obviously. There's Mazda Speed 3, both the old and the new gen. You have Mini Cooper S's, Mini Cooper Clubman S's. You have a lot of options in that space if you're looking for something that may have a little bit more practicality. In summary, if you're watching this video and you're looking for buyer advice on what fun car that's affordable that I should get, moral of the story, just go buy one. Test drive some, see what you like, and go buy one.
Yeah, you don't have to be in this crazy life scenario of oh, midlife crisis. We have early life crisis. Those are the best kind because you just live more. Maybe you are getting married, having kids soon, but you don't have kids yet, so buy one of these. That being said, if you are a kid, or if you remember being a kid, don't you wish your parents had these cars?
I do, yeah, absolutely.
We're looking at you, Dave. Anyways, yeah. I mean, thanks for watching. Where can people find us?
Yeah, we are on Instagram at Flywheel Films. We don't post a whole lot there. We have a podcast that we post at more frequently than Instagram.
At least 3 times a year.
At least 3 times a year. That's the Flywheel Film Show, anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah, and we obviously missed some cars to recommend. So throw any cars that we should mention or that you want other people to know of in the comments below. And we'll see you in another video very soon. And then you were gonna say something else.
I thought you were gonna say something else.